Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path, which is located in Forest City, North Carolina. For today's video, I've come up with another great project for you on how to use the adjustable ring bands with the shower parts. For today's project, you will need a 6-pound fire line in either a crystal clear or the smoke gray. You're going to need a size 10 or a size 12 beading needle. You're going to use a variety of 4mm Swarovski, bicones, preciosas, whichever ones you want to use. You can use one color or you can use as many colors as you want. And then you'll need the adjustable ring band with the shower parts. If you do not have any or you can't find any, you can check them out on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, or you can check out our Etsy site, etsy.com, and you will see a link to that at the end of the video so you can get those. We sell a 2-pack for about $1.95, so they're relatively cheap and they make great rings. So get your materials together and then we'll get this project started. So for today's project, I'm going to be using a size 4mm jet Preciosa bicone, a 4mm jet hematite Preciosa bicone, and I'm going to be using a size 11 seed bead. You can use a regular 11 or a delica. I'm going to use a delica and I'm using the gunmetal color. And then I have my shower part and my adjustable ring base for when I get finished. Now, what I've done to start off with is I've taken one of my size 11 seed beads and I have tied it at the very end of my thread, and I threaded the needle with a 2-yard piece of fire line. And I've tied the little bead here, only leaving a short tail. This is going to become my stop bead so that nothing will come up from the hole here on the inside of my shower part. Now, if you look at your shower part, it's got rounds to it. So it has an outer edge, it has a next set of round beads, it has a 5-hole center, and then it has just a single hole right here in the very center. So to get started, I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come up. I'm going to pick any hole here around the outer edge. And I'm going to come up through the hole. And so see, when I come up through, that seed bead stops my thread. And that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to pick up 2 11s, one color of a 4mm bicone, and then 1 11, and I'm going to let it drop all the way down to the base. Now, as I said in the intro, you can use one solid color or you can use as many colors of the bicones as you want. It's completely up to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this very last size 11 that I threaded on, and I'm going to come down through the 4mm bicone, my 2 size 11 seed beads, and then I'm going to go right straight back down through the same hole that I just came up out of. So that when I pull it good and tight, my crystal sits right off the top of the base. Now I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come up through the very next hole in the shower part. And remember to keep a good tight firm pull onto your thread. And again, 2 size 11s, 1 4mm bicone, and 1 size 11. I'll let it drop. Let those beads drop all the way down. I will skip the last 11 seed bead that I just threaded on. And I'll go back down through the 4mm, the 2 seed beads, and down through the same exact hole I was just coming out of. Pull it good and tight, and then take your needle and come up through the next hole in the circle. You don't want to skip any holes in this outer circle, and you're going to continue on with your pattern of adding 2 seed beads, 1 4mm, and 1 seed bead around this whole outer ring. Okay, so once you finish going around the outer edge, this is what your piece should look like. You will have 1 crystal embellishment around every hole here on the outside. Now, once you finish the outside, you're ready to go to the next row in your shower part. So what I've done is when you come down out of the last hole for the round, you're just going to take your needle and come up through a hole directly next to where you come out at on the next row. And if this tail here is getting in your way, you can go ahead and trim that tail off, because that's not going to be used for anything unless what I do is when I stitch around the whole piece, I use my tail to tie off the threads here at the end, but it's completely up to you. Now, I've come up onto my next row, and in the first row, we picked up 2 seed beads each time. For the next row, you're going to pick up 3 seed beads, 1 4mm, and 1 seed bead. So that way, as you build in towards the center, you'll go from low to building a little bit higher as you get to the center. So same way as I did the first, I'm going to skip the last size 11 seed bead that I threaded on, and then I'll go back down through the 4mm, the 3 seed beads, and then back through the same exact hole I was just coming out of. And pull. Okay, so that's done. So I'm just going to come right up through the very next hole in that circle, and I'll do the same thing again. It'll be 3 seed beads, 1 4mm, and 1 seed bead, and I'll let those drop all the way down to the base. I'll skip the last seed bead that I just threaded on, and I'll go down through the crystal, the 3 seed beads, and then back down through the same exact hole I'm coming out of. And I will pull straight out and come up through the next hole. And I'm going to continue all the way around in this inner circle here, this next one, picking up the 3 seed beads, the 4mm, and 1 seed bead. Round 2 of my ring is now complete, and as you can see, it's starting to build up, and it's going to be a really fun ring when I get it finished. Once I finish this round, then you're ready to move to the next round, and the next round only has 5 holes in the center. So all you need to do is, just like we did in the first round, flip your piece over. I'm coming out of this hole here, so I'm just going to come to the very next round of holes, and I'm going to go through the closest hole. I'm going to go through the closest hole nearest to where I'm coming out at. And go ahead and pull your thread straight out. So the first row, we picked up 2 seed beads to start. Second row, we picked up 3 seed beads, so I guess you've pretty much guessed it by now that this row, we're going to pick up 4 seed beads, a crystal, and 1 seed bead, and we're going to let it drop. We will skip the last seed bead that we just threaded on, and then I'm going to go back down through the 4mm, the 4 seed beads, and then back through the same hole that I'm coming out of. And now I'll come up through the next hole in that circle, and I'm going to do the same thing, same bead count around this next center circle. So with little effort, I'm done with the next to last row, and now I am ready to do my very single last row, and it's dead in the center, and you have quite a few options for the center. I wanted to show you, this was one of the first ring bases, or the rings that I did when I started experimenting with the pom-pom ring. And what I did here for the center is I actually did 3 little sprigs sticking out of the center. So when you hold it this way to this angle, you can see a little better. I've got low on the outer, and then as you get to the center, it gets higher. Now you can do that. If you do that, that's very easy. What you'll want to do is when you come out of the center, you're going to pick up 5 seed beads, 1 4mm, and 1 seed bead. Skip the last seed bead, go back down through the crystal and the 5 seed beads, and back down through the same hole that you're coming out of. Now, when you do that, you're going to have to pick up 1 seed bead and go back through the same hole again if you want to add extra sprigs. And you can add as many as you want. You just have to note that that little hole in the center gets filled up pretty quickly. So I did 3 sprigs to mine so that you can kind of see how that one looks. Or I'm going to give you another option. Here, I'm coming out of the center, just like we've spoken of, and I've threaded on 3 seed beads, 1 6mm bicone, and 1 seed bead. I'm going to skip that 1 seed bead and I'll go back through the 6mm, the 3 seed beads, and then back down through that same hole in the center that I'm coming out of. And before I do anything, I'm going to grab the crystal, and as I pull, I'm just going to hold that crystal in my hand. And I'm going to keep pulling the thread until that crystal goes down in the center. And now here's the reason why I did that. I want to be sure that none of the thread gets wrapped around any of these other crystals here in the center. So by holding that as I was pulling through, that helps me not to get it caught. So now when I pull, the 6mm goes down into the center, and you have a nice pom-pom ring. Now this ring will be great for 4th of July. You could do it so it looks like fireworks, or be great for prom, or whatever you want to do it with. It's just a really fun ring to wear. Now, to finish it off, I'll pull my thread good and tight, and then I'll take, if you left your little tail piece, you can tie the tail and the working thread together in a couple of really good knots. If you did not leave a tail, you can thread on a size 11 seed bead and let it drop all the way down to your base here on the back. And then once you've done that, tie you a couple of really good knots around that size 11 seed bead. I am OCD about how many knots I put in something, so you can put 1 or 2 or however many you feel will be sufficient, and then we will trim off the 2 tails. I will then take the ring base and I will lay the ring base down onto the bottom and see if it fits. Sometimes these little prongs get pushed in during shipping, so if that's the case, use a pair of flat nose pliers and just pull those prongs out just a little bit, so that way it'll be easier for you to attach it to the ring base. So now I'm going to try it again. Wiggle it in here, making sure you have a good connection all the way around. And then we will use a pair of flat nose pliers to push one piece down. Then I'll come directly across from that one piece, press that prong down, and then I'll continue to press down the other 2 prongs until I have it secured. And we now have a fun pom-pom ring. Now, I did have a few questions last week about the adjustable ring. You can pretty much open this up to be whatever size you need. It comes standard to like a size 7.5. So if that's too big, all you need to do is simply press this little piece in here and then press together until you get the size that you need for the smaller size. I probably wouldn't go below a 6 on here just because it may mess up and not feel good on the person's finger. But as you can see, the pom-pom ring is super, super fun to do, and you come up with some really fun projects. So I hope you enjoyed the project. Like I said, if you need a ring base, be sure and check out our website or our Etsy site. And we'll see you again next week for another fun beading project.